That's a lot of good stuff we have.
Yes,
we
there's a
we've
lot of
got
good stuff
we
going
have a lot
on.
of good
There's a
stuff
lot of
going on.
fun stuff happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we're ready. We're ready to talk about what
Now
we're
we're
going to
ready
talk
to
about.
actually talk about what we're
Yeah.
going to talk about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We should
Yeah.
probably do that at some
We should
point.
probably do that. So, well, welcome to Pros Talking Pros. Today, Troy and I are going to cover the topic of kind of like what you can do and how you can leverage your email list. And that great timing because Troy has got,
Oh,
this amazing thing. But we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, we've this is going to be an exciting time. We're going to talk
yes.
newsletters, but also not just newsletters. I found some also really cool ways that you can engage with your readers through your email without having to write newsletters, because I know some writers out there don't want to have to create those. So there's some other things you can do to engage with your writer or your readers and get them into your little world without having to write up these big long newsletters. So let's dig in. Um First things first, Troy, let's start off with telling everybody what you found out today, because this is short-lived. This is going to be like, if you're watching this, we're going to have to probably like post this like right away.
Yeah,
Because this
if
is
it's
like,
only
it's
the
probably
deal's
going to
only good for 6 days, but I
6
will
days.
also tell you that regardless, okay, this is another tool, and
Right.
it's another tool to help you with your newsletter in that so maybe we should start with the fact that if you're going to send out a newsletter to any more than a handful of people,
Mhm.
you need a newsletter service. You
Very good.
please don't add 100 email addresses to your Google
It,
Gmail
well,
and send
Google
out,
won't
first of
even,
all,
they won't even do it.
Yeah, Google won't even do it. It won't even let you, and it won't even send it out.
Right.
And it's a really good way to get really quickly on someone's spam list or their
Right.
bad list. Even if you break it down into groups of 20 and send it out that way or whatever, that is not the way that you professionally do things. First of all, it's not legal.
It's not legal.
Especially in the European Union, you've got GDPR, and the way you handle people's data is super, super vital. So you can literally get fined and lose
Mhm.
money because of it. And also, it's just really bad practice. You're going to have, and for all of these services, you're going to have your own domain name, and you're going to have to find a way to and have a way to verify your domain name.
Right.
The tool that I found. So the common ones are MailerLite,
Mailchimp.
Mailchimp, SendFox to an extent, and
Constant
then for
Contact.
authors. Constant Contact and ConvertKit are a little more advanced. Most young authors, just starting out authors, you don't need ConvertKit. You don't need Constant Contact. They're really powerful, but they're a little beyond what
There's
the average
another.
author needs.
Oh, one of
Um,
my clients is using a Weber,
Aweber is another one.
and that
Uh-huh.
one seems to be pretty usable, viable,
Mhm.
and it's pretty simple to use.
It's
So
pretty
that one's a good
simple,
one.
pretty user
Mhm.
friendly, and you're going to want something that's pretty simple and user friendly.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about that in a minute too. But the main thing you're going to want to be able to do is create welcome automations and other automations that are part of your system. Now, the more you do with your website, the more complicated you probably need that system to be.
Right.
But for starting out, you want something very simple. The system I found is called InCharge. It's on AppSumo right now. It's for 6 days. I think is all it's going to be on there for, and then you're going to have to pay normal pricing for it. It is one of
Wait.
the best um, builders as far as building your automations and stuff because it's very visual. You just click on a thing and it's like a diagram, and they have templates for you and things like that that are really useful for authors. Maybe I'll do a deep dive software thing
That
on
would
it
be
or
fun.
something
That would be fun.
one of these next days and just really walk you through how the thing works, how the process works, all that kind of stuff, and how to set things up in there. It also has one of the most thorough ways of connecting your domain to it. But what that means is it's absolutely secure. Your emails don't go into people's spam, things like that. So it's much more rigid in that aspect, but it's also it gives you better results on the back end because you want your emails, everybody's seen emails going into promotions tabs or spam tabs instead of into the main inbox of school, and that's what happens. Anyway, that's another thing we can talk about in just a few minutes too. I'm getting ahead of myself. But this tool is a great tool. It right now it's 99 bucks for lifetime access. So that's basically 2.5 months of MailerLite if you have a pretty decent sized list. It's 100 bucks lifetime deal for up to 5,000 subscribers. It goes up from there. I bought a much higher level than that when I bought this a long time ago, for the simple reason that someday I will have that many people on my email list, and I don't want to have to pay again. And if I do have to pay once I am beyond that number of people on my email list, I'm sure money won't be the issue. So
Yeah, that's
um,
the deal, right?
it'll be easy to move. But anyway, so it's a super good program, super good deal. But there's also, other good programs out there. MailerLite has free until you get over 1,000 subscribers, I
I think it's a
think,
thousand, five
something
hundred or a
like that.
thousand. It's
Um,
significant enough that it'll help you grow. It gives you some time to grow.
yeah.
A
SendFox.
Weber, I think a Weber's only $20 a month, and you get like a let me look at their pricing really quick. A Weber is $20 a month for, oh gosh, what is this? It doesn't say. Oh, it doesn't say how many subscribers. It just says like, I remember looking at this. Oh, like 1,000 subscribers, I think, which is
Mhm,
significant considering uh Amazon, not Amazon, MailChimp is not that high. It's $20 a month for like 500 emails.
mhm. Yeah,
So,
and MailChimp goes exponentially up. So I do not recommend MailChimp to
I
authors
don't
anymore at all because it goes exponentially up from there. And the reason is it has some really amazing and really powerful features that you as an author do not need. So you're welcome to pay for that if you want, but it's MailChimp is much more in competition as far as financial wise with like ConvertKit or Constant Contact, but it's not quite as powerful. It's kind of lies in the middle there. And so I'm like, I
yeah,
just don't
they've
recommend it. It,
they've
you
added
know,
some things like their CRM and stuff to it, but even then it's just like you said, it's too much for someone who's just wanting to send out emails to their readers and keep things simple. So, if
yeah.
you're not needing that kind of thing, it's
Yeah,
not really
don't
worth
I
it.
just don't recommend that you do it. It's just not the best of deals. Especially, and like I say, we're talking about things related to authors. If you have other kinds of
Right.
businesses and you want to talk about email, I'm MailerLite certified. You can book a call with me and I'll talk to you about all the various different features that it has. But for most authors, it, simple is better. Simple is going to be
Right.
better for you.
Simple is going to be better. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So
So,
yeah, so awesome. Okay, then yeah, so we should do a deep dive into those email services later. But again, I'm going to reiterate: you do not want to start collecting emails without having a service in place. And
mm-mm.
I am going to asterisk, 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 asterisk. I can't say it three times. Can you say it three times?
Mhm.
Anyway,
No, not
yeah,
gonna try.
star, 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 star,
Yeah.
star. This, your
Disclaimer.
most, your most important asset is your email list. And it was
Mm,
funny today. I was scrolling. Um, and one of my clients posted, I wish somebody would have told me early on that my email list is the most important asset that I have. And it was so funny. I was like,
mhm.
oh, this was one of those things that was bad on me because I didn't used to emphasize this. I didn't approach the
Mhm,
business from the business standpoint. I was just approaching it from like, let's make your book beautiful. Let's just publish your book. And
mhm.
I wasn't approaching it from the whole picture. And now I am. And so now I'm telling my clients, get your email list going right now. And of
Yep.
course, a lot of my clients are reeling it in, going, oh no, I feel like I'm behind the eight ball. And yeah, it
Mhm.
sucks. It really sucks. But you want to
Yeah.
get this going as soon as
Well,
possible.
yeah, number one and number two is your website and your email list. And the reason your website is in there is because your website should generate leads for your email list. And this
Right.
is regardless of where you sell your books. If you sell your books directly on your website, it's even more important to have a really solid email list and a really solid website. But even if you don't, even if you're selling on Amazon, the only way you can communicate directly with your readers is through email is going to be the simplest way to do it. Now, there are things you can collect their phone number and see if they'll let you text you. But most people are not going to do that. They might do that for Walmart, but they're not going to do it for Troy Lambert, right? They don't want me texting them messages about, I have a new book out, I have a new episode out. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? So for the most part, you as an author are not going to get into SMS campaigns. You're going to get into email, right? That's the way you're going to communicate with your readers.
Exactly.
Email and then groups, social groups, and that's just another aspect of your email list is creating community. Um, but so that's the only way it's going to work. So your email list is super, super important. There's no other way to say it other than this is just one of the top things you should be doing. If you're not doing it, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. There's all kinds of debate about all different nuances of your email list, but not a single person will tell you, your email list isn't important today. No,
It
nobody's going
is
to tell you
your
that.
it is probably your most important business asset as an author. So you're going to need to create that. So I would consider you shifting your mindset about this, and instead of feeling like, oh well, don't want to bother people. This is not bothering people. This is actually so that you can remain in contact
Mhm,
with them. If a platform shuts down, you don't own any information from that platform. So like if a
mhm,
platform like if say all your followers are on TikTok, if you're on TikTok and you think you're going to be able to keep those people and contact them once TikTok shuts down or once Amazon shuts down or once Facebook changes again, you lose that information. So your only asset is that email. So really
mhm,
just do everything you can to protect that. So that's number 1.
mhm,
Number 2 is making sure you know what to do with that email. So, of course, you're going to store those in those mail servers, but then you're going to want to nurture the relationship. And this is going beyond the book, which is what we've been talking about. There are lots of ways to do this. Traditionally, it's a newsletter. And like you said, there's a welcome series, usually like, welcome to my community. We are so glad you're here. Here's your free whatever that you've offered them so that they can give you their email address. But also, you want to continue. And I am like, do as I say, not as I do kind of person here, because I have not been the best at doing this with my own community. But it's one of those things that I'm trying to do is learn how to nurture those relationships so that I don't lose touch with them and that they understand when I'm communicating with them, it's to give them information related to their pursuits. So it's the same thing with you.
mhm,
When they're coming into your community, you're going to remember to embrace your brand here, be brand consistent, but you're going to create this world that you're going to communicate with your authors. So really quick, Troy, can you explain what a welcome sequence is and what that looks like from an author's point of view? Like what kind of things do you include in an author in a welcome sequence?
Okay, so first, let me say that this is changing. And the reason it's changing is
Mhm.
because people's attitude towards email is changing. We
Mhm.
get bombarded with advertisements and promotional emails over and over, and I get hundreds of them a day, and I'm constantly unsubscribing and then finding something new I subscribe to, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
So the point of this really is to connect with that reader. And this is talking about going beyond the book is about creating community. So your welcome sequence, everybody will tell you it should have a lead magnet and then a follow-up and then some kind of an offer, a bargain offer, so that you can get people used to buying from you. And those things are absolutely true, but you need to be doing that in very much a conversational manner.
Mhm.
Like, I want to get to know you. I get excited when somebody replies to my emails because I
Right.
want them to reply. I want this to be about a conversation. I don't want it to be a one way, because initially it's very one way. You're
Right.
talking to them. Here is my book. Here's your free book that I offered you. I hope you really enjoy it. Would you like to review my free book? Yes, we want you to do that type of thing. And you say, now that you have that free book, I have these other great books over here that you might want to buy. And here's a bargain deal on them. You can get this bundle for $5 if you because you're one of my subscribers. That's awesome. But those subscribers want to know about your dog and your day and your activities. And you don't have to put your whole life online to do this, but you put forth a persona that's
Mhm.
friendly and it's welcoming to them. Johnny Truant talked about this. If you haven't seen his Substack, go over there and look at it. I'm not going to tell you the name of it. You find it for yourself because we can't say it on this
On
podcast.
this channel,
It's
yeah.
not, it's inspired as a duck, but it's not a duck. Anyway, but Johnny and I, we had a conversation a couple years ago, and we're going to recreate this relatively soon. But where we talked about becoming a craftsman and an artisan author, which means connecting with people that really want to connect with you. And they aren't going
Mm.
to care what you write. You can write whatever you want. You can write all kinds of stuff because they're invested in you as the author, not your genre, not your titles, not that type of thing, but they're invested in you as an author and being a part of your community. Okay, so he's got a post over there that talks about exposing yourself for fun and profit. And it's exactly like be yourself, just be out there and be yourself, and you will attract a tribe of people who really like you.
I
So a
say
part of
that all
that
the
starts
time.
in the tone of your newsletter. Yeah.
Right, right. Be naked. It's okay. People
Be
like you
naked.
naked.
It's okay to be naked. People like you naked. Don't, not when
Mhm.
cooking bacon, but all other times,
Yeah,
nakedness is
but
is
yeah,
okay. Anyway.
what that means, guys, is being vulnerable, being yourself, being authentic. Don't hide. And you can still protect parts of yourself behind your brand, but
Hmm.
what we mean by being authentic is like don't force yourself to be something you're not because people see through that, especially the younger generation. I hate to tell you guys this, but man, the Gen Zers and not so much the millennials. I think the millennials created a lot of inauthentic people, but the Gen Zers can see through this propaganda really, really easy. So whenever you try to fluff something up or use sales speech on them, they kind of see through it really easy. So avoid it. Just be truth tellers.
Hmm.
Say it like it is. Don't try to hide anything. Yeah. So I love that. Johnny Truant, huh? That's his
Yeah.
name?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's great.
He's been around the indie space a really, really long time. So written some really weird books and some really fun stuff. But when you remember the book, um, Write, Publish, Repeat, that
Yeah,
talked about rapid release,
that was
that's
his?
Johnny.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
Johnny and a couple
gotcha.
other guys were in on that. So what's interesting is he started the rapid release thing and then has significantly backed off of it because it
Yeah, it's kind of
no
like
longer works.
no longer
As we
works.
and we've talked about that before, and we can talk about that on another episode. But
Mhm.
the rapid release, the whole principle behind that, no longer works. Arguably it never did. So anyway, and
Yeah,
we've had we could have Johnny on and have a discussion
that would
about
be
that, but you'd
cool.
have to spare a couple hours because we once we get going, it may not stop for a while. But anyway, but yeah, so it doesn't work anymore. Arguably it didn't back then. But he wrote the book on it literally and then said, "Hey man, this doesn't work anymore," and just letting you know. So a
Yeah,
pretty cool guy, but also just very knowledgeable about the business itself, and someone to pay attention to. So,
awesome.
yeah.
Very
Anyway.
cool. Yeah. So, okay, so usually you want to make sure your welcome series starts right away. That they're getting that confirmation that they signed up. You're not going to want to be too slow on that. Usually when I sign up for something, I want to make sure that it went through like that minute. So make
Hmm.
sure that things are fast. There's not too much of a delay on that. But as far as a series of emails going on after that, you can set those up with automations on these mail services. And usually that consists of, like Troy said, like a follow up of like, hey, I also have this, or you should check out this thing that I'm looking at, or there's some other things that you can offer. Did you know I had merch, going beyond the book, did you look at my store,
Hmm.
things like that. So if you have learning materials or any kind of upcoming events, you want to share those kinds of things. That's the kind of stuff you want to put in that those initial emails. Usually it's a short sequence, 2 or 3 is max. And that's your welcome
Depending.
sequence. Yeah, it depends on your
Yeah.
how you what do you feel like. But you want to give people a reason to open the email. So there's always some special or nuances when it comes to the dynamics of what should be in those emails. But keep in mind that your subject lines, take advantage of those. Make sure that they're gripping and they're hooky, I guess.
Hmm.
It's a good hook.
Yeah.
Um, because you're going to want people to open those. And again, you're not trying to deceive them. What you want them to understand is this is what's inside. You want to read this.
Hmm.
So that way it helps people understand and again, engage, give them a reason to open your email. Um, let me see. Do you have anything else to add about that?
The only other thing I'll add to your welcome sequence is have plenty of opportunities for people to unsubscribe. Because the
Oh
truth
yeah.
is, you want people to unsubscribe if they're not interested, if they were just interested in a free book and they're not interested in staying on your list, let them go. Because they don't want to necessarily get to know you. Maybe all they really wanted was the free book.
Right.
And they don't want to stick around for your email sequence. And maybe they'll come back and buy other books from you later. Maybe they won't. It's really hard to tell, but that's something that you should let them lead into, but give them opportunity to unsubscribe from your list because it just helps save you from getting a bunch of freebie seekers that never ever actually buy things from you. And there's ways that you can arrange your email sequences and arrange triggers so that when someone actually buys something, they go into a different group of now,
Hmm.
these are customers that have spent money with you, so they will probably spend money with you again, as opposed to someone who has just come through the whole email sequences and has never clicked on anything in your emails. They may not be that interested. They may just be staying on your list. They may not even want to just take the trouble to hit the unsubscribe button. So there are sequences you can set up to encourage them to do so, to say, hey, I noticed you haven't clicked on anything in a while. If if you're not interested in these emails anymore, just let me know. I'll take you off my list, you know.
Or yeah,
So
or
give
you can
people that
say,
opportunity to leave.
you could even create an email that says, if you're still interested in receiving emails, click this, click here. What that will
Hmm.
do is you can create an automation that it will tag them. Basically, if they click, then they'll stay in your list, or if they don't tag it, or if they don't click it, then you can have your email service just remove them from they could just
Hmm.
unsubscribe them that way. Again, the reason is because you want to keep this email subscription, these subscribers clean, because one, like Troy says, you don't want to waste your time, but also two, you're paying for the storage for these email lists, and when you're going from five, if you're paying for a service that's charging you for 500, and you're nearing that 500 and you don't want to pay for that next tier yet, um, don't be paying for people that don't matter. It's like robots on Instagram. Nobody cares if you have 1,000 followers if 900 of them are robots. It doesn't matter.
Hmm. Yep, for sure. Well, there are also services that will help you keep your email clean and keep spam people off of it,
Right.
right? So, and they'll clean up your email list for you. Those are very, very useful. Now, I'm not as strict on cleaning up my email list as other people are, of like taking inactive users completely off the list, because you don't know, as long as they're still opening your emails, you never know when that person might become a customer. So every now and then I'll give them an opportunity to unsubscribe, but I rarely will unsubscribe them automatically unless they ask me to.
Mm,
Simply because that's someone that could be a customer at some point. Maybe it's just not the right time for them, or you haven't hit the right book yet that they're really looking
mhm.
for. And so be careful about being too aggressive about cleaning your list, because you might clean some people off of there that really might be worthwhile and might be worth
That's true.
keeping.
That's
So,
true.
be
That's true.
careful about being too aggressive or too lax. If you use one of the cleaners to take out spam email addresses, you don't want them on your list.
Oh
You're
yeah.
paying for
Yeah.
them,
The
that
spams,
type of
I thought,
thing.
aren't the spams just kind of like the standard anyway? Like they do the cleans. Like I've noticed that with at least MailChimp and Aweber, they'll just do a scrub, and they'll, like, if it
Yeah,
bounces
you
like right
can.
away or something, it'll just get rid
Well,
of it.
yeah, if it bounces right away or something like that, it'll take them off of there. But there
Yeah.
are some people that are sneakier, that type of thing, and so you just have to be careful about that kind of thing.
Right.
You just don't want them on your list just because it's just a waste of your time. I mean, they're just
Exactly.
coming on to scam, get something free, see if they can get access to your information, whatever the case may be, and you can just there's easy ways to remove them. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some of the things that you can include in your later emails, and these are emails that you can decide on how you want to send them out and when you want to send them out. Again, I'm in the camp of like when I get too many newsletters, I just kind of start chucking them into a promo file that I've got, and I'll send them. I'll create a filter and just send them over there. And then if I ever need to dig or want to find out what's going on, I'll go into that promo file and look for them. So to keep people from doing that, I think the ones that I tend, and I mean, this could just be personal preference, but the ones that I tend to kind of keep myself from doing that are the ones that send them less frequently. So, if I like say for instance, Dave Butler, I get Dave Butler's newsletters and I think he sends them out maybe monthly. I'm not
Hmm.
sure, but because he sends them so infrequently, like I don't send him to my promo file. I actually
Hmm.
keep an eye on Dave. He's also funny, but
Yeah.
but
He's a great guy. He's a great
he's
guy.
he's he's a
Yeah.
great guy. So, but he's just a funny dude. So I like reading about Dave because Dave is funny. He's engaging. I guess that's part of the reason why I like reading about him. So again, this is being authentic and being yourself, and um, it's just funny. But anyway, so behind the scenes exclusives, you can usually like this is what Troy was saying is kind of writing about like things that you're doing, letting them know like your goals, maybe your moods. My daughter, she subscribes to a gal on YouTube that sends out, I think she sends out maybe weekly newsletters. My daughter's a little bit of a geek though. So she'll read every one of these newsletters. She loves them. But these newsletters are pretty awesome in my opinion. I was going to share them, but I don't want to politically alienate some of our watchers here, but because it's kind of she's a little political, but my daughter's a little bit political. But one of the things that I loved about these newsletters in particular was the beginning was just kind of like a welcome to my newsletter or like welcome to this week's newsletter. And then she'll cover like those stories or those things in the news that she is like looking at. And then she'll say, this week I covered this on the YouTube channel. And so this is just to kind of give you some ideas on a writer, like what you can talk about. You can talk about, things that are you're interested in, what you're looking at. And then this is the part I absolutely loved is down she wrote about the book of the week, like the book that she's currently reading and what she loves about it and what it like triggered in her as far as like feelings, emotions and thoughts and ideas. And then she puts in there what she and her husband are watching that week as well, like on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. So they put in there what they're watching, and again, what she's thinking and feeling about that TV show, which I kind of absolutely loved. She puts on like some of the TikTok trends that she's been looking at, and this really kind of like gives you a sense of who she is and what she's interested in.
Hmm.
And then at the bottom, she just has this cute little like, hope you have a fantastic week. This is what we're doing. We're going to catch up on some work this week and travel a little bit, whatever. And I'll see you next week. And that's it. So that's kind of a fun, and she's calling this a newsletter, but that you can call it whatever you want. But those engaging emails can be like, again, more about like the behind the scenes, what you're working on,
Hmm.
like not just about the book that you've written or, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, more just about you as an author. And there's a reason behind
Yeah.
that. Do you want to touch on the psychology of that, Troy, a little bit?
Well, the part of the psychology of it is just that it should be more of a conversation. And it
Mhm.
also this makes it easier for authors too, because they're like, I'm not sure. I'm just still writing my one book and I'm starting to build a list, but I don't know what to say. And so the question is, what would you say to someone at a party that says, Hey, what are you up to? How's the
Mhm.
writing going?
I love it.
And answer those questions as if your readers had asked them, because that's really the things that they want to know. And then
Right.
ask your readers what else they would like to know, and
That's
just
exactly,
allow
yeah.
them. to be the ones that guide your conversation and like what you're doing with them. Like, what are you putting in the newsletter? Well, ask them, hey, what are you
What would you
watching?
want? Yeah.
How's it going? Do you have any book recommendations for me? I actually, for a while there, I did that and I got so many book recommendations, I had to stop asking for book recommendations because I was never going to write another
You
book
were
that I was
like,
going to spend all day reading, you
yeah,
know? And so that's another aspect that you can add in there is ask questions that cause you to have a conversation with those readers because that's what they want. They
that was the
really want,
second
they
thing
would
I was
love
going to
to, many
mention.
of them would love to sit down and talk with you. And so
Exactly.
as an author, you go, oh, what should I talk about? I don't know. What do you normally talk about? And if you're an introvert and say, I don't normally talk to anybody, what do you post on Discord? Because I know if you're not talking to people in person, you got some kind of outlet. So there's something going on over
Yeah,
there.
there's something
Not
going on
that,
in your head.
there's something you're talking to people about something, right? So
Right.
anyway, I mean, just think of it as a conversation. So that's the content of your emails is more of like, yes, you want to tell people you have books. If you have a book release, be excited about it. But if you've been talking and having a conversation with these readers the whole time, they're excited about it too. They're
Right.
anticipating you, they're sharing your excitement because you've been sharing that emotion and being genuine with them as opposed to just putting things out there and being like, yeah,
Right.
whatever, you know, don't
Well,
do that.
that's what I was gonna say is the second thing you can do is, do have interactive content with your readers. So, and not just we're not just saying polls. It's like you said, Troy, it's not just about surveys and quizzes and polls. It's more like inviting them to be part of your world and asking what their book recommendations is a great idea. Or what do you guys want to know from me? Like, what kind of information would you like me to tell you about? Do you have a favorite character in the book that you want me to kind of like do a deep dive with you on? Things like that. That's a really great
Yeah.
way for you to kind of like, talk about things other than, yeah, buy my book.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Because
Go ahead.
readers know that you want that. I mean, they know
Yeah.
you want them to buy your book, but what you want them to do is share the excitement so they want to buy the book. Not so that they're like, oh no, it's another sales thing. And don't come across as this poor author. Gee, it'd be great if I could pay my power bill this month. So can you buy my book?
Oh,
No,
that would be
please don't do that.
that's
That's what
cringy.
GoFundMe is for. If you're, I mean, but we've seen that. I've seen it before where authors are
Mm,
like, I'm just starving. Or over on Substack, people be like, well, if you don't subscribe, if these people keep unsubscribing from my Substack, I'm going to have to leave because I can't afford to write all this stuff for free. Okay, well, then don't. It's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. Just go, you know? I
mhm.
mean, it's just that's so don't be because what that tells me is that money is your why.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's a really bad
That's a
why.
bad
That's a
why.
really bad why for doing any of the creative things that we do. That's just a terrible, terrible idea. And it also tells your readers what I care about more than you is your wallet and what's in your wallet. And if you're paying attention right now to what's happening with the stock market and stuff like that, people are being
Mhm.
more protective of their wallets a little bit. So you need them to share your enthusiasm so they want to buy your stuff. They want to support you, but not just because they want to support you, but they want to read it. They want to
Yeah,
read what you have to say. So,
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. So the next thing I wanted to kind of talk about what to include in your emails is maybe some serialized content. I know this is
mhm.
something that you've been doing. You've kind of been drip releasing things with the solitaire series. There you can do this with littler like deleted scene kind of stuff in your emails. So you can share short stories maybe that you're working on or character backstories, alternative POVs, just other things that you might be thinking about working on or things that you got cut out of the book because your author came in and said you started the story in the wrong place, which we just talked about. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have to cut all the 400 pages in the front because you
Yeah.
started the story too soon, too late, or too soon. So give all that to your bonus. I mean, one of the things that people really like feel extra special about is when they get things that personally from the author. So,
Hmm.
offer them that kind of thing in the emails. Do you have anything that you like particularly liked about this kind of thing? Maybe that you liked
Well,
or you got good responses from? Like maybe?
well, sometimes, like because I do crime fiction, sometimes I'll do things with research and I'll
Mm,
put that out there. So I had a couple blog posts when I was writing Unreadable with CJ. She was like, we were talking about what crime that the crime families committed. And she's talking about money laundering. She goes, I have no idea how that works. And I go, girl, I got you. So I wrote a blog post about money laundering. Maybe I'll send you the link and we'll drop it in the
okay.
thing below. But like how
Yeah, that's
money
gonna be
laundering
funny.
actually works. So how you can actually launder money and how criminals do it and how the system works and how you
Right.
can game that system. And it was super popular because people were like, oh man, I didn't know how money laundering worked. They're like, you can do that? And I'm like, oh yeah. And there are more
No, you
methods
shouldn't.
too. But I'm like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're
This
all
is
giving
not,
them
I
crime
mean,
ideas.
this information, the FBI knows this information too. So don't go too ridiculous here.
Troy,
But,
you're like starting these mini crime families. This is how you start this crime
this
deal.
is how you do it. I've had people ask me, okay, well, what about, what are some ways to get rid of the body or, different things like that. And you're like, okay. And the truth is, it's just interesting because you can look at true crime or you can look at
Right.
how, like, what parallels we've drawn in fiction. Like, one of the other posts that I did was about organized crime in fiction and
Hmm.
how we deal with organized crime in fiction, but how organized crime actually works in real life. And why are we fascinated by it? Like,
Right.
why do we think it's so dang cool?
We're so
Well,
morbid.
we think it's cool because it's a very intricate business that mirrors legitimate businesses. It's just on
Right.
the other side of the law. So there's a lot of money to be made in that, but there's also a lot of risk. And so you're like, well, what's the difference between organized crime and an entrepreneur? And really, not much. Just what laws you choose to follow and don't follow. So,
Right.
I mean, and how serious those consequences are. But so things like that, where you're doing research on your writing, there are things that are super fascinating. I was working with an author and helping him book coach his way through his book, and he had written about this obscure period of Jewish history around Spain and Portugal, and it was absolutely fascinating. And I loved it. I'm like, you need to be writing blogs about this. You need to be emailing about this because this is freaking cool. And I had no, like, I'm a history buff and I had no idea this whole thing had ever even happened. And it was fantastic because he was doing it on purpose because he's Jewish. He wants to bring attention to this period in history, but he wanted to do it through this fictionalized story. And it was amazing. It's absolutely an astounding story. So your readers are interested in that. If they're interested in historical fiction, they're interested in your historical research that you're doing as a part of creating your book.
Very
So,
true.
yeah.
Very true. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's your monthly drips. You could also do reader spotlights. I loved this idea
Hmm.
is taking one of your like diehard fans and maybe doing a spotlight on them, do a Q&A with them. Um Create that two-way conversation again. This is like very much instead of talking at them, talking with them. So you want
Hmm.
to, like Troy said, you really want to have that conversation and make that a two-way
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Early access, making sure that they have first early access to things. I I love this idea. When you've got an email list, you want to make sure that they have like the prime or the special feeling of like being, well, I'm part of this group, so this I get this benefit. I get this special treatment from my
Hmm.
author because I'm in his email list, and you're creating that juicy little tidbit of and reason for them to subscribe, and you want to do that. So yeah, I loved that idea. Do you have anything about that? Did you ever use early access or
Oh yeah. Well, what's cool about this is the whole principle behind like Kickstarter and things like
yeah.
that is
Mhm.
giving people access before anybody else has access. And Patreon is giving people access. So I
Right.
have a writer friend of mine that writes chapters and literally emails them out and puts them on Substack. So you get to see the rough draft chapter. And then when it's all done, you get to go and you buy the book and you read what happened like how did he
Revise
pull that
it.
all together, and what did it
Yeah.
change, what changed in the story from the chapters to now what the story ends up being in a novel or whatever. So he has a bunch of people that they'll follow every chapter in his email and read them all, and then they'll buy the book to read them all together.
I think
So there's all kinds of things like that.
that's very much like an Andy Weir kind of trick. Andy Weir did that
Hmm.
when it was Wattpad, right? So
Hmm.
very smart idea. Very smart idea. Surprise freebies. That's a
Hmm.
good one. Unannounced little goodies or printables or things that you create, maybe deleted scenes again, bookmarks, little, little things that are not going to cost you a lot in the long run, but that make them again feel like VIPs. You
Hmm.
want to create that delight and that feeling of being special.
Yeah,
Give them,
subscriber only sales.
yeah, and giveaways.
So
Yeah, yeah,
subscriber only sales and giveaways. So don't tell them my book is 99 cents on Amazon right now. Although that's a good thing to tell them. If your book is on sale, do tell them. But tell them I have a subscriber only sale, and on my website right now, only for subscribers, you can get my book for 99 cents. And
hmm,
share with your friends. And if they become a subscriber, they can also get the book for 99 cents. Because you're
good
not only now
deal.
you've got ambassadors, them telling their friends to come and get your stuff because it's on sale, and you giving them something that's exclusive to them. And it's a way that like you can raise some quick money and some quick sales, and you're not paying for ads. You're not paying for anything else to generate those sales. And you're possibly generating some leads by just having them send their friends to you, their other reader friends to you, or share on social media, or whatever the case may be. So there's all kinds of things that you can do that way to get your readers to be your ambassadors for you, but make them feel special because this is a deal just for you. This is only for
Right.
you.
So ultimately, again, these email lists and these things that you're doing are to nurture these relationships with your readers, create that two-way conversation. But really what you're attempting to do is create a diehard fan base, right? And
Hmm.
if you're shooting to be a full-time writer or make this author business really kind of sustain you or at least be a nice side gig, there there's a number that you like to throw out, Troy. What's that number? Is it 100 to 200 or what is it? 200 to 300? What is it?
Well, really, if you have, so the number in realistically is if you have 300 good, diehard fans and you're producing books quickly enough, one a quarter or whatever, so 4 a year, let's say, then you have enough fans to make a living as a
There you
writer.
go.
Now, because those people will buy everything that you put out, and then other people will buy it too, but you can count on those diehard fans. There's another guy that wrote a book, and it's called A Thousand True Fans, and that
Mhm.
that number is absolutely true. If you have 1,000 true fans, now what that means in terms of an email list is you probably have to have 5 or 6 thousand people on your email list to get that 1,000 true fans, because
Right.
those 1,000 true fans are the ones that are going to buy everything that you write, and they're going to be your ambassadors. But you can nurture those fans. The other way you can nurture people in your email list is to get reviewers. Say,
Right.
hey, if you join my email list, you'll get an early review copy. You get to review the manuscript, the book, before anybody else ever even sees it. And people go, oh my goodness, that is just fantastic. I love that opportunity. Yeah, you bet you do, because that's what they're looking for is I get to be first. I get to be before anyone else. And I get to leave a review and then do things that give those people, send them some stickers or something, show them your gratitude to those people that are your
Right. Exactly.
reviewers and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a way to build those diehard fans, and to build those fans you need a large number of people to do it, but it's not that hard to get a large number of people if you're actually being yourself, being genuine, and throwing things out there. You won't get those unsubscribes and things like that. There's some things I'm doing differently this year because of that reason. Like only certain people get certain promotional emails because I don't want that to go to my big list, because I'm nurturing those people to be my fans. And I don't want to do something that betrays them and makes them think that they're not important to me. So,
Exactly. Exactly. And like I said before, this is like the most important thing is these platforms don't allow you to collect that information unless you're driving the traffic to your email or to your website. So make sure that everything you do,
Mhm.
advertising, everything is driving them to a website that will capture that email. That is the most important thing you can be doing as an author, and
Mhm.
growing that platform. So keep that in mind. If you like what you're hearing with Troy and I, make sure you like and subscribe. We're putting these out every week. I drop these on Saturday, so you guys can remember to watch on Saturdays. I know long form content's hard to get through, but if you followed us up to all the way through this point, yeah, thank you for sticking with us. And then also, just so you know, Troy he's like doing some amazing stuff on his website right now, the plot dude, and the plot abides. I love that so much. I love that you do that. But yeah, he is definitely your plot guru and the dude. So if you ever need help with working on your manuscript and helping you create a story that actually is going to hook, line, and sinker your audience, this is the guy. And if you need help publishing or understanding the business of writing and further, getting further editing help and everything, I've got a team over at Print to Pro, and we're happy to help you do that. I've got an upcoming webinar, Author to Authorpreneur, coming up on April 17th. It's free. And you're welcome to come. It's live. I'll drop the link in the bio or in the description, and you guys can come to that as well. But that will be author focused and business focused, so that we can help you understand the business and what it really takes to make this whole thing work, because it's so complex and so overwhelming. And I'm so sorry about that, but we'll try to make it as simple as we can. I know he's been in the business a long, long time. He's definitely my right-hand man when it comes to hashing out the things that come along in this business. And I really, really can't say enough of good things about him. But yeah, if you ever need help, you can come to us. We're happy to help authors really make this business work. So if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, we would love to hear what you have to suggest. Drop it in the comments, and we will hit those topics. As far as what I've got on the schedule, it looks like our next episode is going to be. Ooh, do I have this? I don't even know what I've got going on our next one. Let's see. Nope, that was today. Writing newsletters that's effective. Our next one is going to be, good call, Stace. Unwritten rules of publishing. Oh, that's kind of
Yes.
vague.
It is vague, but
That's kind of vague.
yeah, it's interesting though, because there are rules to publishing. People say there's no rules to writing, and that's only sort of true. And we'll probably talk about that next week as
Yeah,
well.
but the
But there
unwritten
are rules to
rules,
publishing, and they're not really, nobody
definitely.
put them in a book for you, but we'll put what we can in an episode for you.
Yeah, we could
So
we could definitely do that. I'll try to keep that organized. All right. Well, again, you can find Troy at Troy Lambert Writes. No, is it Troy Lambert
yeah,
Writes still?
TroyLambertWrites.com.
TroyLambertWrites.com. And then
But yeah, there's a branding shift that's happening. So the plot abides will be the new website coming up relatively soon, but you'll be able to get there from Troy
through
Lambert Writes through the author
TroyLambertWrites.com.
portal as
Cool.
soon as that's all moved over and set up. But that's an
Cool.
ongoing process. We should talk about rebranding sometime, because
Oh,
that
we
would be
should.
that's another great topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
But
since I'm
anyway,
kind of doing that myself. But anyway, and then you can find me at editsbystacey.com or printtopro.com. I'm happy to help you out with my team. We have a fabulous team of editors, publishers, audiobook narrators, and producers, I guess I should say, and all kinds of people that we're compiling over there. So we're happy to help you as well. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
thanks everybody. Bye.
Okay.